Boom, what's going on, good peoples? What's going on? Welcome, welcome back, welcome back. All right, we had some technical difficulties yesterday, but I think I got everything up and running correctly now. How's everybody doing out there in YouTube land? Welcome to the Carnivorous Podcast. And this is Sunday, December 3rd. What's going on? All right, straight out the gate. What's up, buddy? You stuck? Come here. Oh, you not. You going to get your food. All right. Man, Sosa had shared a couple of old shows with me back from the Pseudo Killas a couple years back. So I mean, the shows was so good. Like, if you listen to the shows, you can see where the current argument is at nowadays. And excuse me, I feel as though we were ahead of the curve, right? Me, Corey, and Sosa, for sure, was ahead of the curve. We actually shaped the argument, right, and turned up the fire to get it where it's at right now. I don't like to take credit for anything. You know how people go around, they take credit for different things. But if we listen back to this show from 2 years ago, you know, y'all make y'all own decisions and see who's been the most consistent. All right. An awesome Pseudo Killer show, right? This was pre-production, right? I don't even think I was using a microphone. Unc wasn't using no microphones. You know, it was just pre-production, but it was raw, and our conversation was genuine, right? Everybody showed where they was at in the conversation. I think a lot of our conversations have been refined over the last 2 years. But when I listen back, me, Corey, and Sosa, our conversation is still pretty much where it was at then. You seeing flashes of everybody else moving their target, right, to get more clear on what they wanted to say. But yeah, for the most part, me, Corey, and Sosa, I can see that we were where we was ahead, so to say. All right. But yeah, we're gonna get into that if I can get these scenes right. Hold on. Let me go back to my boom. Boom. So, thank you. I'm glad everybody in the building. We got 8,000 people watching. And out of the 8 people that's watching, 4 y'all hit the like button. That's awesome. That's half, right? But all y'all can hit the like button if y'all can. If not, don't even worry about it. Just keep watching, right? Like I say, over on this channel, we don't ask for cash apps, right? We don't ask for super chats. The only thing we ask is you hit the like button, right? So you can pay us in like buttons, right? Or pay us in subscribing to the channel. This channel is fully subsidized by me, right? The channel is not even monetized, all right? So for me, you know, you could pay me and just hitting the like button or subscribing to the channel, right? That's all I ask. Okay. All right, but yeah, Sosa, what's up? Man, that joint that you dropped me in the back chat, I've been listening to it all day, over and over. And me and Corey was talking about it earlier because I shared it with him and Vance and Brendan, right? And we was just all saying, man, that was an amazing show, right? We was definitely on it. And I don't know why this camera keep acting crazy. Yeah, we was definitely on it, right? The show was amazing. The contributions, Raw Born came in at the end and zapped out on us over the Nation of Islam. But other than that, it was a good show. Thunder, what's up, Thunder? Hey, Thunder, when I throw up that link, you gotta join the panel. Matter of fact, I'm gonna throw up that link early because I want to get you in here. I want you to listen to this. With us. But yeah, man, if y'all could see when we watch this, y'all are gonna see how we were totally ahead of the game, and that me, Corey, and Sosa has been the most consistent. We have been the most consistent, right? And this is not even, we're not even Egypt guys, so to say, right? But, just following or just sticking to what the sources have been saying, dealing with the most credible sources, right? We stayed right in the middle, which it kept us safe in the argument. We didn't misplace no populations. We stuck with the populations that was there in North Africa. And I think that's what pretty much, I think by us sticking with the populations that was in North Africa presently, I think that really saved us from falling into the mire of pseudoisms, right, that everybody else fell into. I think we was ahead and we properly critiqued certain elders in the community, certain master teachers. We tried to give an honest assessment of the forefathers of the conscious community, meaning the Dr. Benz and the Ivan Van Sertima's and the Sheikh Anti Diops, and the Chancellor Williams. You'll see in this conversation that me, Corey, and Sosa, we had an open mind to properly critique Chancellor Williams. And in our honest assessment to properly critique or be open to critiquing Chancellor Williams, I think it opened the conversation completely up. And y'all gonna see it. And this was 2 years ago. All right? This was 2 years ago. Let me see if I can get it up. All right, let me throw up this. First off, let me throw up this Zoom. Because if I can get, but I don't know if y'all gonna be able to hit on the Zoom. Let's see. Remember, I'm still trying to get this together. I thought I had everything together, but I didn't even think about being able, the playback being heard over the Zoom. So let's try it. All right. Copy invite link. Boom. Yeah, Infinite Wisdom. I changed the name of the show. Yeah, I changed the name of the show. I said yesterday that that I wanted to that when I first started the show, I started it in haste. I just wanted to tap back into the community because I wasn't no longer on the Pseudo Killas. So I just needed a channel where I could still keep building with the audience that I was building with over on the Pseudo Killas. So in haste, I just made the podcast. I mean, Chef Madness, right? I didn't even really think about it too much. So, over the last 2 months, while I didn't go live, the last 3 months, I've been thinking about how, a different name for the show, and where I wanted to go with it. So I started to make some changes. I brought some new equipment that I wanted to add to the show that I thought would help with the production of the show, I wanted to make it more simpler. Uh, I wanted to take my professional camera out of it, right? And I wanted the more sleeker, something simple. I had a whole bunch of little iPhones, older iPhones and things around. Um, so I'm using one of my older iPhones as my camera. Um, Instead of having the big Rodecaster Pro, um, I threw that to the side and I went and brought a Rodecaster Duo. That's a smaller interface. Um, and all of these things, right, I can take on the road with me because I'm going to be spending more time in the barbershop. So while I'm in there, I think I'm gonna do a couple shows while I'm in the barbershop. So I needed a smaller setup, something that I can throw in the bag, throw a mic in the bag, a mic stand, prop it up at my station, and probably just go live from there. Interact with my clientele. Because a lot of times when I'm in the barbershop, I actually, if Garfield is live or whatever, I actually be having listening to it on my um TV in the barbershop, and my clients and them, we be actually talking about some of the topics that so, you know, that'll be something I'm gonna start doing hopefully this month. Yeah, so I had to change my whole setup. I went for a more sleeker setup. I can use an old iPhone. I can just throw that up as my camera. Um, Grab a laptop, one of my MacBooks, and a microphone in this little Rodecaster Duo, and boom, we could take this show on the road, baby. So that's what I've been doing, right? And I was thinking about, I know I'm jumping all over the place. I'm trying to be a minimalist now, right? I want to be a minimalist. Like I have a lot of equipment. I have a lot of tech gear and everything, and I just feel like I got too much, right? Right now, and I'm on a big 27-inch iMac, right? I got where that computer at? I have a Mac Mini with a 32-inch screen. Um, I have a MacBook Pro. I got two iPad Pros. I just got too much stuff, and I just I want to have everything sleek and minimal, right? I want to be able to pack my stuff up, put it in a book bag, and go. Right? I don't want all this tech. I got cameras. I don't even want it. I said, man, I could just use an iPhone. If I can just get down to one iPhone, an iPad, a microphone, and something to hook it into, that would be perfect. I could take it anywhere, right? So that's what I'm eventually trying to get down to. All right. Let me see. Hold on. Copy invite link. Boom, I know I copied the invite link. Boom. I don't know if that's right, but that looks right. Okay. So let me see if I can get this video playing. No, wrong. I want to do. No. Let's delete that. Boom. All right, let's do new scene. Let's do. I want to do. Boom. Do show. Google Chrome. Boom. I'm gonna do Google Chrome. let's go Chrome. Boom. Let's do that like that. What else we got? Let me switch this. Boom. Okay. And I want to do. I'm gonna do a picture in picture. So boom. I don't want that camera. I want. Boom. And I want to change that to boom. Shape. Boom. No, we ain't gonna do the circle. We gonna do the square. We gonna. Boom. We gonna put that right there. Let's put this over here. Boom. All right, let's go, y'all. This is from 2 years ago. This is the Black History Month or Blackology. All right. This was a great show.
Egyptian culture. Chancellor Williams, 3100. No, Chancellor Williams, 3100 BC.
No, Neolithic.
And he said by that time they was already heavily mixed.
I know, but okay. That's one point. That's in the northern regions. Let's separate that now. You got the upper and lower. The lower is really the upper, and the upper is really the lower.
Right, because the Nile. Because
so
of the Nile.
The people in the Delta was heavily mixed for sure.
Uh-huh.
So that's an area that was still Egypt, but it's the Delta where the Asiatics live for time immemorial.
Right.
Okay. So then when you in the lower Nile, which is really the upper, right? You use the map upside down. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going downhill.
Right.
Mountains, right? And they call that upper because it's higher elevation, right?
Mm-hmm.
The elevation is down in Uganda and all that, and it's going downhill because the Nile River runs out into the damn ocean. So it's got to be an elevation, a constant, decrease until you get to the ocean.
Facts.
Okay, so I'm saying the people that was in the northern region were lighter, and the map shows that, and the people in the southern region was darker and got darker as you got closer to the equator. And I'm saying those people coalesced back and forth. There was no restraining order saying they couldn't travel back and forth across the river. It's ridiculous. And so I'm gonna tell you, the Black Islanders make the ridiculous conversation that they was wrong. But no, that's not the truth. It couldn't have been just one way like that. But the culture itself was nurtured in Mama Africa, bro. And that's the fact that everybody want to act like they trying to escape.
So let me ask you,
I got some backup now, goddamn it. Now what?
Hey, yeah, he said the link ain't working, yo.
It is working. Sean just popped in. Where you at, Sean?
Okay.
Yeah, so that the conversation.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying like the conversation is not really a scientific conversation. That's why like you ain't really coming to a real consensus on it.
What the hell? I don't know what happened. Hold on. I don't know what happened. It says this video is unavailable. How the fuck? Hold on. Technical difficulties. Let's see. Yeah, it looked like they just removed it in the middle of us watching it. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. They just removed the video when I start playing it. So whoever got controls over there on Pseudo Killas, put the joint on private when I start playing it. What was in this video that they didn't want us to see? Now I'm concerned. Now I'm concerned. I wanted to show how me, Corey, and Sosa arguments have been consistent. Soon as I start playing it, whoever over there who got controls, just put it on private. It's crazy. So to recap, y'all, I'm not even going to trip. All right, me, Corey, and Sosa, our arguments have been the same. We were saying that those people in North Africa and in Egypt have always been the people in North Africa and in Egypt. We were saying it. We were saying it flat out, right? And we were saying it from the beginning. Now, the only one who never read Chancellor Williams' The Destruction of Black Civilization was, at this time, was Corey. But me and Sosa have both read it, right? So me and Sosa was recapping some of the things that Chancellor Williams had put forth in the book. And we were saying that, Chancellor Williams got that wrong. right? That those people was always the people in Egypt, and if they wasn't, when did it change? Now we got pushback, right? The video was like, let me see, it's like 4 hours long. It's almost 5 hours, right? So in the beginning of the video, right, we had the pushback from Unc. By the middle of the video, I guess he started to see the writing on the wall. He started to change his tune in the middle of the video. By the time Sean and them came on, we have fully flipped Unc. In one video, he was still giving us contention, but the wording was changed, right? Sean and them came on, T'Challa, and another guy that was in the Mossy. He was funny. I forgot who it was. But they was grilling me. Y'all gotta see it. If y'all can go back and watch that show, it's called the Black History Month or Blackology Month, right? And it was the one where we had the big dust up with the each one teach one over the Nation of Islam. Unc had made some incendiary, is that the right word? Incendiary remarks about the Nation of Islam. So, you know, that's when we got into that whole thing, what was the Nation of Islam should be celebrated during Black History Month. We was having a good time back then. I'm telling y'all, conversations was awesome, right? But in the middle of that conversation, you know, that Black Egypt conversation came up. So, yeah, so along that road, me and Sosa had already read the destruction of Black civilization. And Chancellor Williams has said in the destruction of Black civilization, let me pull it up. See if I can pull this up. But the reason why, if we could have watched the video, y'all will see how our arguments, we refined them a little bit, but we are pretty much, me, Sosa and Corey were pretty much where everybody is at now, right? Even Chief X, where you at? Hit the link. I'm gonna need you because you made some claims, right? And I can show that, you know, that me, even though we agreed with some of your positions, that our arguments were our arguments and your arguments were completely different than our arguments. The only things that we were saying alike, that, you know, that they wasn't Black Africans or sub-Saharan Africans. I think that's the only thing that we were saying that was alike. And I think that some of your arguments that you were using, we agree with the logic of your arguments, right? But not the overall, you know, premise. Like, you probably didn't agree with some of our takes, but you agree with the logic of our arguments. It was sound, right? By you placing the North Africans in North Africa, right, and being the progenitors of the civilization or the civilizations of North Africa, you was in lockstep with us. but the arguments that we made was a little bit more sharper. We was dealing with something else. All right, let me pull up this book, because this is where we had the contention at. Let's see. It is The Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams. All right, so Chancellor Williams, let me read this. Oh yeah, the ex-architect was definitely, banging hard. That's my man. That's my man. Actually, ex-architect is the one that actually made me, he the one who actually flipped me. Actually. For me, it was ex-architect. Having a conversation with him, I was actually fighting against him. And he said a few things that just stuck in my head. And when I went to sleep, I couldn't get those things that he said, right, out of my head. And they were things that I had often thought about myself. But because of my blackology, right, I ignored that I wanted Egypt to be a part of Black African history, right? I wanted it. So a lot of the things that I thought, I kept to myself. Back when my father used to teach me about Egypt, I had those thoughts. And I suppressed them because of my upbringing. I suppressed them because of the books and things that I was reading, right? I was reading a lot of books that confirmed my bias. One of my favorite books that I used to like to read about Egypt back in the 90s was Egypt Revisited by Ivan Van Sertima, right? Egypt Revisited by Ivan Van Sertima actually had, was heavily contributed. Well, Chancellor, what's his name? Ivan Van Sertima used a lot of Sheikh Anta Diop, Charles Finch, Runoko Rashidi, Theophilo Banga. He used them as resources actually to write Egypt Revisited. So a lot of their arguments, he took whole excerpts of their arguments and placed them in his book to, make the case for Egypt Revisited. So I became familiar with Diop and Dr. Charles Finch and Theophilo Banga, their arguments and their refined arguments that they used during the UNESCO conference. I was able to understand what they was putting forth through the works of Ivan Van Sertima and Egypt Revisited. And that was one of my favorite books to read on Egypt. Also, Tony Browder. I used to read Tony Browder, Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization. So a lot of the books that I was reading on Egypt, Drusilla Dungy, The Wonderful Ethiopians of the Kushite Race. I think that was the name of that book. All of these type of works I was reading helped me. It kept me grounded in Blackology, right? So the thoughts that I was having on Egypt, right, by me knowing geography, right, and trying to grapple with where Egypt was at on the continent of Africa, by it being a transcontinental country, by it being along the Mediterranean, and seeing the different cultures and the people that were along the Mediterranean, seeing how close it was to the Western Asia coast. I was I had the thoughts of how did these people in the midst of all of these other people remain black? That was always, but I pushed it out of my head and, you know, I kept reading Egypt Revisited and became instaunched in the arguments of Chancellor Williams from, he made the best argument and told how, right, they got pushed out of Egypt, right? And they went south. You know, he was an excellent writer. And his writing basically, gave me it gave me the foundation to stick with the Black Egypt. And by reading Egypt Revisited by Ivan Van Sertima, that actually gave me a lot of the intellectual background to propagate or to push for a Black Egypt, because he had writers in it like Diop and Obanga had the whole linguistic part in Egypt Revisited, and Van Sertima was actually an anthropologist and historian, so he gave the whole anthropological background in his argument towards the Black Egypt. And then Sheikh Anta Diop, he had his whole excerpt, or his main argument from the UNESCO conference was actually with the Kim and breaking down the Kim. So Egypt Revisited, man, that helped me stay in the Black Egypt. But not only till I talked to and then all of the Tony Browder stuff, especially the Nile Valley contributions, right? That was like one of the easiest reads. He had the pictures in it and he made it real easy, right? And he gave a political reason why Egypt was black, right? He gave the Blackology political reason why we should push for a Black Egypt, right? So those works kept me and they stayed in my brain. And two, I talked to, had that argument with ex-architect. I remember the disagreements and the my own inquiries that I had and my own doubts that I had about the whole Black Egypt hypothesis. So when I had that argument with ex-architect, right? I didn't let him know that, I felt as though I won the argument, but he made me feel comfortable, I'll say that, with my skepticism. That's what it was. He made me feel comfortable with my skepticism of Black Egypt. I felt as though, damn, well, I'm not alone in feeling that skepticism towards Chancellor Williams and Van Sertima and Diop and them claims, right? I never could express that around my father, because he was heavily into it. He used to take me to see these guys when they came to the local colleges and did their speeches and presentations. So, that's where I was at with it. Let me see. But yeah, it's crazy they took down the video in the middle of us. Yeah, they definitely took the video down while we was watching it. I just wanted y'all to see my level of consistency in the argument, right? But I guess, the Pseudo Killas, the Pseudo Killers don't want me to show that over here on this channel. And that's fine. You know, I'm not even gonna beef over it. If y'all notice me by now, I'm not petty, right? I don't get nothing out of it. So contrarian thinker said I should have kept listening to my father. Yeah, I mean, no, my father taught me a lot of stuff. He actually taught me how to think and actually be a skeptic, right? And to be able to challenge my thoughts and to always grow. So, you know, if my father was alive right now, he probably would be right with me. He wasn't a stubborn man, by far. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah, my father was a sharp dude, y'all. I swear to God. He was a sharp dude. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, if it wasn't for the drug game in Baltimore, right? And him getting caught up in those things, you know, I always say that my father would have been a scholar. You know? He had all of the attributes. He had the mind, he had, you know, he even had the writing ability, right? Even when I used to go check him out, right? When I was older, I would go holler at him, right? And he used to be down, there's a place in Baltimore called Lexington Market, right? And Lexington Market is, you know, it's this big market. It's two sides, right? And that's where you can go get all your fresh foods and stuff from. We got a whole bunch of markets like that, right? In Baltimore. But Lexington Market was like the biggest one, right? But it was an open air drug market down there. It still is, right? So when I would go down Lexington Market, I knew if I wanted to go holler at my father, I knew where to catch him at, right? We used to call Lexington Market his office, right? So I'd be like, you know, Dad, I'm gonna come down your office today and come holler at you, right? So when I would go down his office down Lexington Market, right? It's an open air drug market in a market, a real market, right? With different food shops and everything all in there, right? But when I would go down there, it was crazy. I always knew where I could find them at. I just had to go look. Come on, Cam. I used to, like, if I was looking for him, I would just look for the crowd of people, right? I look for a crowd of people. And I knew that's where he was going to be at talking. And he used to have at least 15 addicts and pushers standing there, always around him, listening to him. He would have a book out, you dig what I'm saying? In the midst of all of this confusion, right? We go down his office, right? And he would have the young drug dealers, the addicts, and they all used to hang out there around him and listen to him talk about history and religion. You dig what I'm saying? So he could just command a crowd wherever he was at in the midst or wherever, right? He had this park across the street from his house called Curl Park, right? And when I used to go down his house, if he wasn't in the house, I knew to go to the park, right? It was this tree he used to sit under, right? And there will always be people around him around a tree, and he'd be out there and he'd be talking, and people out there listening to him. You dig what I'm saying? In the middle of selling drugs and getting high, he always was that guy. So, yeah, my father, he would have been definitely, more than likely he would have been with me with the Egypt Ain't Black. You dig what I'm saying? He would have been able to change, with the information. Information, saying he was very information prone. Let me see if I can start this video over, y'all. That's crazy. Let's see if I hit the refresh.
Muhammad was a white man.
All day long.
Okay.
All right, there we go.
In Zimbabwe, they say white people built the Great Wall of Zimbabwe, yo.
Yeah, but we know that was bullshit. That was
Okay,
easily.
so just like we know the Egyptian argument is bullshit. That's the point we make.
No, but we indulge in the Egyptian shit a little bit too much.
Oh, okay. Right.
Knowing that it's contention there, we still try to, belabor the point that it was just, this black.
So you saying it was all?
Sub-Saharan African.
So you saying we acting like it was all black people over there?
Like the whole thing was sub-Saharan. Like the whole thing was sub-Saharan African.
But I've heard that it was a melting pot over there.
The original point was it okay to have propaganda? You know what I'm saying? Was certain propaganda okay? You know what I'm saying? Right. And that's where the Egyptian stuff came in at. Because Sheffrin brought up that he thought sometimes we can go a little bit too hard with the Egyptian shit. And I agree, but
go ahead, T'Challa.
T'Challa said he got a problem with the Chancellor Williams assassination.
That's why. Hey, that's why we be trying to not have the conversation and lie, because we be like, we don't want people to misinterpret the dialogue.
You're not assassinating this character.
Nah, I'm just, throwing a little spice.
That's why we do this show. We talk about the difficult things. We bring on ain't no outlandish thing that we can't talk about. You know what I mean? Except for melanin. I mean, that's about the only thing we won't be talking about is melanin. But
yeah,
we talk about the hard questions and the uncomfortable stuff.
City.
hey, peace to the panel and peace to the chat. Thank y'all for having me on.
Yeah, how you doing, brother, man?
Good.
Man. I'm here beating up the black allergies, yo. Swinging that.
Number one, I just want to say this: every man is entitled to his own opinion.
All right, right there. Now check this out, y'all. Let me read this for y'all real quick. Right. This is Chancellor Williams. All right, this is Chancellor Williams, The Destruction of Black Civilization. Chapter 1, the overview. Now listen, this is what we were contending with, right? It says, the land of the blacks was a vast land, a big world unto itself, covering 12 million square miles. From its northernmost point, in what is now Tunisia, to Cape Aquilus, it is approximately 5,000 miles. And in its widest extent, from the east to the west, it is 4,600 miles. The whole of this second largest continent was once Balad es Sudan, the land of the blacks. And not just the southern region to which they have been steadily pushed from the north. After Asian, Greek, and Roman occupations, the term Sudan came to indicate the areas not yet taken from the blacks and was coextensive with the Ethiopian Empire. For the Ethiopian Empire once extended from the Mediterranean north and southward to the source of the Nile in the country Abyssinia, which recently reverted to the ancient name of the Ethiopian Empire, of which in earlier times it formed its southeastern provinces. That was the contention right there. Chancellor Williams said that all of Africa, from the northernmost point to the southernmost point, was the land of the blacks. And it was a vast empire. It was the empire of Ethiopia. That was what Chancellor Williams had said. That's what we were discussing on the show. Was Chancellor Williams right? Let me continue. It says, even as late as the times of Menes, 3100 BC, Ethiopia still included 3/4 of Egypt, or up to the 29th degree north parallel. He says the Asians held the Delta region, hence the two lands, well known to all historians, but never fully explained. To explain the two lands, of course, would blast the myth about the builders of Egyptian civilization. It was pointed out that the study of the blacks must begin in Egypt because most of their indestructible monuments are there. And further, because many of the artifacts archaeologists have been uncovering during the past 75 years as Egyptian are in fact African. Yet the very heartland of the race and the cradle of civilization were actually further south, below the first cataract, centered on the capital cities of Napata and Merowe. Listen, this was the playbook. This is what everybody was coming from. This is where everybody was coming from. Chancellor Williams said that in 3100 BCE, at the time of Menes, right? When Menes united Egypt, right? And became the first historical dynasty, right? Of record in 3100 BC. He said that the Ethiopians, or the blacks, controlled 3/4 of Egypt. The only part that they didn't control, according to Chancellor Williams, was the Delta. And the Delta was controlled, right, by the Asiatics. That is Chancellor Williams. Now let's continue.
For one, we're going to get that straight because we all have opinions, right? I have opinions about the political structure and how to go about if voting is the way, if it's not the way. I have my own reservations about that based on my life experience. But what we won't do is we won't say that we can just retire. Like, I'm going to get real specific because I got my joint right here highlighted.
Yeah, me too.
Destruction of Black civilization. I want all the smoke, bro. We've been going over this. We've been going over this Kofi Pasha research team. We've been breaking it down book club week by week, bro. I want to see which one of these things is stuff in there that, yes, you can say, oh, we don't need to necessarily go exactly by this, or this ain't exactly how it was. But I'm going to tell you like this. The majority of the book applies today.
Yeah.
So I want to know which page that we have a issue that we need to go ahead and not really, you know what I'm saying, abide by, use, or what have you.
Let me read this right here to Tyler, and I'm gonna let you finish them all. Go to page 147. Tell me this ain't relevant for the day. The record of 5,000 for my babies to read. The record of 5,000 years that ended with European conquest of the whole continent in the 19th century shows that every African state remained relatively secure and independent as long as it maintained a strict policy of excluding foreigners from settlement within its borders. That same record makes clear that whenever the policy was abandoned, the whites were admitted under any pretext whatsoever. The eventual doom of their state was certain. The single point that is being made here is that King Culadoses and the other black leaders already had as early as 652 AD, it's a 37 centuries of this record. Before then, when they allowed the Arabs to establish a permanent base of operation in their land. How's that not relevant, yo? Like we all dive on Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. The black Hebrews don't get that. That's what he's talking about. And that's why we fight for saying we're African people. Because as long as we build our own institutions, which we can do in America, that's the point. We can build institutions. That's why it's important to get our money. But if your baby reads this, they be like, man, maybe I won't accept that slave religion. Or whatever. It tell you, it say they ignored the record as other black leaders were to continue to do until Muslim Asia and Christian Europe swept the continent and left the whole black world prostrate at their feet. I don't know how this is not relevant to atheism. I don't know. It got me on my atheist shit. Go ahead, T'Challa. Now, I don't know. It made me do the Destruction of Black Civilization show. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for me to retire a book, you know what I'm saying, that inspired me to start the Raw Squad. I did the show. Y'all can Google it. It's called the Destruction of Black Civilization show. And then it was the Destruction of Black Civilization show home in the Raw Squad. And then it was everybody that y'all see right now. You got, man, look, man. Come on, dude. Watch this. I'm gonna get real slick. See this work right here, yo?
Spears of the Marcy.
Spears of the goddamn Marcy, yo. Now, what is the Spears of the Marcy, yo? Motivated by Chancellor Ag Williams and other factors. You gotta ask him what else motivated him. Boom, what's this? From Spears to Penn. I'm saying Chancellor is the foundation of what we do. So I heard you. I heard you, Corey. I hear you, Chef. I hear y'all. But I'm saying, yo, like that book inspired me. And if it was some crazy shit in it, then you know what I mean? Then I get it. But it ain't, of course, everything is right. The nigga only knew what he knew. Like he only knew what he knew. But he wasn't promoting blackology. He never said that all Egyptians was black. He simply said that the culture was started in Africa. And the foundation of what made Egypt was black people. That's what he said. And he talked about the Asiatics and the Afro-Asiatics and all that.
Hey, what
That's
page
what he
number?
talked about them. And he said they fought just as hard. And he talked about Caucasians. Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about the quote unquote, y'all know when the gene mutation occurred.
Caucasian ain't a race. That's not a race.
No, you're right. Let's get off that. Let's just talk about the mutation. The SL24A5 mutation. That's go 15,000 years ago, right?
Shit.
Yeah, 8,000.
Yeah,
so they could have been migrating back and forth for that. They had to been. So there you go again. Chancellor just wasn't wrong like that. He said Afro-Caucasians. He said Afro-Asians. He said Caucasus Asians. He said all that. He give you the blended people. But he was talking about the foundation, the first pharaohs. Have you, okay. Hey, Slick, where you at, Chef? Hey, Chef.
I'm right here.
Have you ever looked at an Old Kingdom book, bro? Your ass is grass. That's all I'm gonna tell you. You want to talk about some pictures? Your ass be super great. I'm gone.
Pull it up.
Break it up.
I'm gonna pull it up in a minute. Hold on. You here, Chef? Don't go to it. Oh shit. Here, Chef.
Pull it up, cause you about to do some looker shit.
Nah, yo, you can say they get dark. These Egyptians get light and light over time, yo. It's funny as hell. I ain't looking shit on that.
You about to do some looker shit. Pull it up.
No, yo, I'm telling you, yo, the Old Kingdom and shit is a little different, dog. I promise you, yo.
Pull out the Old Kingdom. Go look at it.
Y'all can pull it up. Go
We
ahead.
gonna do some looker shit, myself.
Right.
Hey, you gotta
Y'all crazy, man.
you gotta mute one
Yo
of them
said
joints
look
out.
at shit.
You gotta mute one of them joints out.
The hell with you, yo. I ain't telling you nothing else, yo.
So he said the old kingdom. So obviously you got an old kingdom book. Obviously you got an old
Yeah,
kingdom
you're right.
book.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. I'm gonna give you that. It is looking shit, but I like it though. That's my black album.
Yeah.
Y'all crazy.
Shit, I'm admit it, yo. I ain't man. I can admit that, yo. That's why I say the blackology is just a slang word, yo. That's all, yo.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
So
I'm cool with that.
So hey, T'Challa, let me ask you this.
He was going to present something. What you gonna say?
Oh, he was about to present
Oh, he had to
something?
highlight, but you gotta give us that page number, bro.
Yeah, go ahead, yo. Go ahead, rock that.
Go ahead and ask me the question, bro. I'm good.
All right.
Yeah.
So what in the book, what do you have? What contentions do you have with the book, if any?
That what contentions I have?
Yeah, like if you find something that's, poorly stated or not supported by your research, because I know you, if you reading that, you obviously you study outside of that, right?
Of course.
Right. So have you seen any discrepancy in his work that you didn't already say, okay, he didn't get that right and exact, or you had those issues with the book also, right?
Right. And so what I want to say to that, to answer your question, is if you go to Kofi Pasai research team, we've been breaking this down on the book club, and I give you exactly the answer to that question. It was not just me. Let me stop saying me. Kofi Pasai research team, we on the air just like we were inspired by you know what I'm saying, going live, talking about this stuff, reading the works ourselves, and we talk about what part in what chapter that we don't agree with. And we talk about the overwhelming majority of information of why you actually can start with this. Not necessarily start with this book, but this is definitely a beginnings foundation when it comes to understanding Black history. Look what we talk about.
It's a good overview.
It's a good overview.
It's a good overview, right? But I want to know some of your contentions.
Great.
Yeah, so let's talk about the contentions. Go ahead.
Hold on 1 second. So so the first of all, the contentions don't even measure up to the amount of information that is valid. Let's just get that established, because
well, we could agree to that, but we want to talk about the valid part. We want to talk about the contentions so we can.
And again, okay, so let me.
I don't think nobody would argue with that. Like
What's valid?
The pros outweigh the cons, but definitely.
Right.
So what's the reason? Let's do this. So like all of that sediment shit got to be retired. See, that's a difference. Right there.
Well, you about to take us somewhere else? Let him finish.
Right. We dealing with chances because y'all
That's a red herring.
Hold on. Let me see your book first before we talk about contentions. Just let me see the book and we can go through it page for page. We can go.
I got the book. It's right here on my tablet.
Okay, so
I just downloaded the PDF, but like I said, I had read that book 20 years ago. I just downloaded the PDF though.
You ain't read it 20 years ago. You ain't have enough information to understand the damn book 20 years ago. So that's the point I'm making.
What I'm saying is that was the beginning of my journey. I get that. Like I said, even I met Serb, even though he was wrong, that propaganda was the beginning of my journey. That sparked me. So even though I have contentions with Ivan Serda's book, I can still give him credit for the inspiration and pushing me to read and study.
But don't put that with cancer. That's two separate. My point is, I swear to you that Ivan Serda's book is a retirement book. And I can tell you why. Because the shit ain't never been right.
But he took his lumps.
No, but hold on.
And he admitted where he got the information from.
Okay. But if my kids
it wasn't even his work.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm saying, but if my kids would read that shit today, they'd be thinking we the fucking Native Americans.
But still, he still sourced up. He still saw. Where's chance? All right, go ahead.
Hold on, y'all gotta let Charlie finish his joke.
All right, y'all can see, man. Listen, there I go fighting for Ivan Van Sertima. All right, I always took a line to fight for Ivan Van Sertima in this community because I feel like Ivan Van Sertima has gotten a bad shake. Like he was the ultimate wrong scholar and pseudo of the elders. And that's just not the case, right? He probably was one of the most accomplished, right? He was one of the more accomplished of the elders. That's why him and Diop works were heavily criticized, or they came under scrutiny because they were the actual academics. Okay. So the academic community actually came at Diop and they came at Diop and Van Sertima the most out of, and they were both what nowadays what we would call blackologists, right? So the academic community had came at them because they were a part of the academic community, right? They couldn't be ignored. See, you could ignore a Dr. Ben and his wild claims. He's not writing in journals, and you dig what I'm saying? Lecturing, you know what I mean, and really teaching at prestigious universities and things like that, with that type of rhetoric. Far as wise, Diop and Van Sertima, they was. So the academic community had to address them. So I feel as though, what's wrong, buddy? I feel as though come here. Come. You must have did something. Let me see.
No, man, he ain't finished what he was saying.
Let him finish, but hold on. I'm going to tell you why a book should be retired. And I'm trying to tell you that based off of, we got to have a criteria for retirement, yo. We just can't start retiring shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Now that's some non-scientific shit.
Okay, maybe we got to put it in its proper on its proper shelf. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the shelf it should be on the propaganda shelf. But see, like Ivan Van Sertima, that's not a good example because that shouldn't even be on the propaganda shelf. You know what I'm saying?
You said destruction of black civilization should be put on the propaganda shelf?
No,
we already had the discussion that some propaganda, some degree of propaganda is a
not bad
for black people to thrive.
Propaganda should be accurate.
We already just had that discussion already.
Yeah.
So don't take propaganda as a
negative
slur or nothing like that. Yeah.
I think it's propaganda mixed in it, like it should be, because he's a storyteller, and he keeps you interested in the work. But it has historical accuracy in it, based off his 20 years of being in Africa, writing the book, being with the indigenous tribes. So he actually took the shit from the people. He wasn't doing like Europeans did. Don't even go to the fucking continent and be talking about Africa. He wasn't that guy right there. He wasn't. He tell you he got passports to get into different countries. He talk about all that. But go ahead, Tyler. That's why I can't just retire the book. I'm gonna retire some shit that's relevant today. Especially for that's where I get my atheism from. Because he beats up the Christians in the book. He beats up Jesus Christ. I was like, damn, he beating up Jesus Christ. And then he tell you that black people do the same thing that everybody do. The shit that we argued the other day. So it's just too much in there for me just to say, no. And you can bring it up after the child finish. That's important, Chef.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right, so you see, now we were contending whether Ivan Van Sertima, whether Chancellor Williams should be retired. Well, his book, The Destruction of Black Civilization, they were saying that it shouldn't. The whole argument is we supposed to be pushing for accurate information, right? Now, if a book is laden with inaccurate information, right, even though it might hold a particular place in your heart, it shouldn't be a book that we promote to the next generation. Why? Because we want them to get it right. Right? We don't want them to stumble over the same things that we stumbled over. Right? That's the whole thing. Like, we done took years off of our journey of educating ourselves by being mired in misinformation, right? And to keep promoting that misinformation, right, we felt as though was damaging, so to say. So that's the line that me, Sosa, and Corey had took towards the destruction of black civilization. Now, the problem is they tried to pit us and say that we were trying to get rid of the elders and we were being disrespectful. But remember, they had no problem with using that same critique, right, on Van Sertima. They just got a problem when you disagree with the elders that they want to promote. That's the hypocrisy. That's all I was trying to get them to see, that you are being a hypocrite. Y'all are being hypocrites. Because when I first started listening to this community, right, I think over on Garfield's show, they were going hard at Van Sertima because they was in a battle with the Abos and the Moors, right? When I first started watching, they was battling with the Moors, right? And Van Sertima had wrote a book called The Golden Age of the Moors by Ivan Van Sertima, right? And he was suggesting that the Moors were black. They were saying that the Moors wasn't black Africans. You dig what I'm saying? That they were North Africans. So they were saying it's time to retire Van Sertima. He got all this wrong. Then the Abo conversation popped up. And when the Abo conversation popped up, give me a second.
So what I want to know is what's a specific, because I'm not the one who has the contentions like make stressing at a point. That's you all, which I don't have. We men, we have a conversation. We brother, we building. So what I want to know is what's one of your contentions, and we can see if we agree. Not so I can beat you up and try to act like I'm gonna just defend it like it's the Holy Bible, because that ain't the conversation. I want to see what points of contentions you all have, because I might have the same.
Yeah, my point of contention is just based on the fact that when we enter scientific conversations, right? Then the things that we talk about, we also back it by science, right? Like history, like we use history, and we use science to corroborate that history.
So yeah, so what we were trying to do there, right, was to point out the hypocrisy, right? There are certain people you say it's time to get rid of. We can retire those books, but when it came to Dr. Ben and Chancellor Williams, you know, it wasn't time to retire those books. But when Van Sertima had did the Golden Age of the Moors, and the conscious community was in an argument with black Muslims, right? Who felt some sort of connection to African Muslims, or, you know, the conscious community told them they were wrong and these people wasn't African or they wasn't black and y'all ain't have nothing to do with them, right? And since Van Sertima had wrote the book, The Golden Age of the Moors, he was under scrutiny. They started beefing with the black community that's claiming that they Aborigines, right? And Van Sertima wrote the book, They Came Before Columbus, right? Which which he made the claims that there was a black presence in Mesoamerica pre-Columbus or pre the transatlantic slave trade, right? And that there were blacks from Carthage that actually who were Phoenician, who actually sailed over here and actually started or helped jumpstart the Mesoamerican civilizations, right? So, since they were beefing with the Abos, they said, listen, Ivan Van Sertima was wrong, right? When they was beefing with the Moors, Ivan Van Sertima is wrong for even suggesting that the Moors and those North African Muslims were black, right? Ivan Van Sertima is wrong for even suggesting that the Mesoamericans were black, and that the Olmecs and those other Mesoamericans were had a black a black origin or root to it, right? So they said, retire Van Sertima. He's a quack. He got everything wrong. All right? That same Ivan Van Sertima, right, had backed everything that Diop and them had did at the UNESCO conference. His book, Egypt Revisited, is a compendium and a compilation of their best arguments that was put forth. Should we retire him for that? No. Y'all wasn't saying that. But it was easy to say that, to retire him because of the people that y'all were arguing with. The moment you start arguing about Egypt and I say, well, look, or we said, well, look, Chancellor Williams and Diop and them made the same errors in their scholarship, right, that Van Sertima made, but y'all saying you can't retire these guys. So it was a hypocrisy going on, right? It was a hypocrisy going on, right? It's easy to get rid of Muslim North Africa, right? It's easy to get rid of, Mesoamerica. But one thing that they didn't want to let go was good old Egypt. So if there were black scholars that got it wrong, cognitive dissonance wouldn't allow them to separate themselves and retire those scholars. They tried for the last 3 years to twist Diop and Chancellor Williams and them information into something that could be held today as on the same par with the academic consensus of nowadays. They trying to act like these guys were actually correct in some type of twisted way, right? Just because they used the word Africa. This is the new claim. Since Chancellor Williams, in some of his excerpts, he used the word African interchangeably with black. The same way Diop would use the word African sometimes interchangeably with black. They're saying that nowadays modern scholars, right, are all in agreement that the ancient Egyptians was African. So just because Diop and Chancellor Williams and them use the word African interchangeably with black, they're saying that you can just take off the black and Chancellor and Diop is actually correct. But Chancellor Williams and Diop, the synonymous usage of African and black to them were one and the same. So they are not saying what modern scholars are saying. Like we all thought that anybody who wasn't black African or wasn't phenotypically, what we thought was African was not African. It's recent that we have come to understand that those North Africans are actually Africans, right? Now, some of us accept that now, but there's still a pushback even in 2023 to that same position. To that position, right, that was made at UNESCO, there is still contention in the conscious community over that consensus statement that was put forth, that the Egyptian civilization was African. And that the people in Egypt and in North Africa are Africans. Corey is saying nowadays that we say that Africa is the most diverse continent. And my man Malcolm of the Pseudo Killas, he shared the link with me earlier today about the diversity of Africa. Right? But we say this, but somehow we don't really mean it, right? We only want that diversity to be amongst the people that we want to say is African. If they don't look like us, then that's not the diversity of Africa anymore. That is now the invader. Because we had a preconceived notion that African, right, was the old stereotype Negroid, right? That whole racist stereotype. Hey, dog, give me that. We ain't doing that. Hey, dog, come here. Give me that. Right. So back to what I was saying. The bro, hold on.
So I'm saying like that's a good beginning book, and I get that. So when I say retirement, it's not to say throw the book away. They're just saying like, yo, at this point, we need to start with updated information, because sometimes like just like we were talking about the Van Serner book, some people don't weed out the parts that aren't valid. They accept the book on face value. That's my whole contention. So I'm saying like, but if we start with,
no, go ahead.
Yeah, but the whole point is that we don't even got to go to a specific. We know the book is dated, right?
No,
so I'm saying
we have to though, brother. We have to. Watch this. I could flip to any page, and I mean, what show me and where is the contention that it needs to be updated in terms of what's highlighted? I could flip to a random place that.
All right, so yeah. So my man T'Challa is actually beefing with he's actually beefing with the fact that we're saying that the book needs to be retired. Brother Unc was beefing with us asserting that the book need to be retired the same way, right? And even Corey even said that it's propaganda, but Corey even tried to throw out the olive branch and say that all propaganda is not bad, right? But in light of us trying to get proper information, that propaganda then becomes something that fights against academics and science, right? Stating that, that the land of the blacks, right, extended from the northern most part of Africa to the southernmost part, is taking away the diversity of Africa, right? It's not accepting the wide phenotypic range of Africans on the continent. So that's the issue in its totality. And in this show, on the Pseudo Killas, we dealt with this, right? We fought with each other over this. We fought with each other, right? And by the end of this show, we had damn near got it to where we're at now. Rob Bourne crazy ass came in right when we was right about to nail it. Rob Bourne clicked the link and came on and started arguing with Unc over the Nation of Islam. Nuts. I appreciate that, Juju. Fire. Appreciate you. Now, y'all know I got beef with the sisters. You dig what I'm saying? I'm always beefing with them. I'm kind of sexist. You dig what I'm saying? But I still appreciate them. You know? I still appreciate them. And I appreciate Juju for being a sister soldier because she still put up with my nonsense. You dig what I'm saying? She puts up with my nonsense the same way my older sister and them do. You just got those type of people in the community, right? I do anything for a sister, but I am pretty much but I'm working on me. I'm coming along. I'm coming along, but I appreciate that, Juju. But yeah, so they're having a problem with us saying that certain books and certain teachers, right, that got us to this point, it's time for us to retire them. We got into a whole dust up over that. It got so bad that we even had to start pulling up their academic records, right? Just to make the case that if on shared information, if y'all not accepting that the information that they put forth was inaccurate and it should be retired off of that, then they made us have to go into pulling up some of their academic records, right? To show that if y'all not even going to accept, we supposed to be information-based. Now let's just look at it that they wasn't even credible in the first place, right? They made us go to that point. It was almost like when we were arguing over Nzinga, right? And I jumped out the window and I called Nzinga the B word, right? It's because I felt as though I was pushed to that point. Because the only thing that I was saying, it's like logical arguments are thrown out of the window for Blackology, right? The only thing that I was saying, even in this, right, to remain respectful to these guys, just retire the works. Let's not promote it anymore, right? Even though it was a stepping stone for us, right? We have better works, right? And accurate information that people should be starting out with. They shouldn't be starting off where we started off from. That's crazy. They always say that you're supposed to stand on the shoulders. Yes, well, I agree with that. But these niggas don't agree with that. These niggas don't agree with standing on the shoulders of the elders. They agree with starting off from where the elders was wrong. You don't do that shit. You stand on the shoulders. Per Black, I call Nzinga the B word. I called Nzinga the B word because she was being propagated the same way. It's hypocrisy, right? I have a problem with hypocrisy, right? The same way that they were saying retire Van Sertima because his works were inaccurate, right? Forget about the things that Van Sertima got wrong, right? They wasn't talking about the things that Van Sertima had right. They said retire him on the mere fact that he got things wrong. Then they say, well, it's other people, well, white scholars get things wrong all of the time. But the problem here is that the conscious community and black people, We stand on the misinformation. We stand on the things that our elders got wrong, not the things that they got right. That's the issue. So when it comes to hypocrisy, I say we get rid of Chancellor Williams and then we retire them. At first, it started off as retire those books. Now, Sosa even made the good point that they go in the Hall of Fame. We retire them. They get put on a mantle, right? A respectful, when you retire a jersey, right? Or you when a player gets too old to play the game, right? He gets ceremoniously retired, right? We never discredit the good things that they brought to the game, but they're too old. Their skills have eroded. What they bring to the game is now outdated. It doesn't work in the light of the new game. They're new, faster players. They're younger players. The game has changed. That's why we retire people, right? In sports. Now, we were saying in the same light, we retire Van Sertima. We retire, if we're going to retire Van Sertima, then it was time to retire Chancellor Williams, Sheikh Anta Diop, and Dr. Ben. The hypocrisy was to say that no, you shouldn't retire Dr. Ben, Chancellor Williams, and Sheikh Anta Diop. But it was okay to retire Van Sertima. So let's take this to even Nzinga, right? We was already at a point where we were saying that Elijah Muhammad and them should be retired, right? And these guys was just kicking back in the 70s. But we was already saying it was time to retire them. That even though they shown that they helped push us forward and they was a part of our history, right? That at this point in time, they do us no good. And when we look at the historical record, there were glaring errors that these guys have made, that it was time to retire them. That, and our whole thing was that we shouldn't even be promoting the Nation of Islam and Elijah Muhammad no more during Black History Month. So the hypocrisy comes in there is when I said, yo, if we're going to discredit, right, the Elijah Muhammads and the Noble Drew Ali's and the Marcus Garveys and critique them, then Nzinga has a worse record to our people than they do. Because she was directly involved in selling Black Africans into slavery. So if we could retire, right, and speak disparagingly against Marcus Garvey and Elijah Muhammad, then why couldn't we say that it wasn't proper to celebrate Queen Nzinga during Black History Month? The conversation devolved down to Unc actually making a joke about Black people getting captured and sold into slavery. And I lashed out and called Nzinga, right, the B word, because of those statements that he made about our ancestors, right, being caught up in the slave trade. He made a joke about that, saying that Nzinga was right to do that to those people, to save her nation. It was right for her to do that to those people. So I'm saying, if that was right, we're the result of those people. So if you could say that with a smirk, right? You're saying F all of our ancestors that was caught up in the transatlantic slave trade just to celebrate one woman who was trying to save her kingdom. And out of that anger, I called Nzinga the B word. Nobody reprimanded Unc for what he did. Everybody said I was wrong for calling a person that participated in the capture and sale of my people into slavery. I was wrong for calling her the B word. But he wasn't wrong for mocking the people that was captured and sold into slavery by her. Hypocrisy. That still mess with me to this day. So when we talk about cultish behavior in this community, right? We exhibit a lot of that. Let's go.
What was Chancellor William reasoning for the Narmer creating a separation, developing the Egyptian civilization to fight?
Okay, what chapter is this? Get to my table of contents here.
Yeah, what led to the conflict that led to them that began the war?
Okay, so you said King Narmer.
He joined the two lands together. What made him, take the north? Chancellor Williams gave a reason for
it. Come on, Chala.
Is that what you talking about, Sosa?
Yeah.
So what is your understanding of his reason?
I believe he said it was
because they was mixing with them white folk, wasn't it?
Race mixing.
So the reason, so hold on for 1 second, because we gotta establish when we talking about Egypt, we're really talking about Kemet, because this is long before it becomes known as Egypt, and all of this is important. I'm not gonna get lost in the side details, but we do have to talk about that because we get real technical around here. Yeah, so with when we talking about Kemet, when does it become known as Kemet?
We're talking about.
Now listen. Every time they go to some crazy linguistic nonsense saying you got to use the proper names, and if you're not using the proper names, we really can't have this conversation. Whether you call it Egypt, Kemet, Semitawi, whatever the different words, we're talking about the same thing. And if we're talking about 3100 BC and we say Egypt, Reggie contends that Kemet wasn't even used until like the 11th dynasty. So it wasn't even Kemet at 3100 BC according to Reggie, and he reads the glyphs. Let's go. So T'Challa, you was wrong, but you were filibustering right there. You was trying to rattle us. But let's go.
We're dealing with specifically when the Narmer took up the fight.
So when Narmer took up the fight.
Yeah.
So before it's known as Kemet.
Yeah.
So we talking about Tawi, semi-Tawi, those type of terms being thrown around these time periods generally, right?
Is that according to Chancellor Williams, T'Challa?
That's not necessarily according to Chancellor Williams. Oh, okay. That's according to.
Right, because Chancellor Williams was calling it Egypt. I'm looking at his book right here.
Just what we know now as of being able to look at the language, being able to look at what they were calling the two lands. You know,
So do it fit in?
So Tawi being, you know, the two lands, literally Tawi, right? And when you unify the two lands, for one, what is that's what I want to know. What is you're saying that the issue of them unifying the two lands was over white people mixing in?
No, I'm not saying. I'm asking.
That's what Chancellor was saying.
I'm asking what was Chancellor's reasoning. What was his reasoning? What did he get? What reason did he get? We're talking about. We're discussing what Chancellor talked about, what he knew, not what we know now. Like that's you know what I'm saying. So
that's his position. That you know, white people are mixing in, and it's causing the issue based off of what he's saying with the history of Black people in that time period in that area of the world.
but would that be accurate during Norm's time period?
It's a two-sided question. For one, during his time period, we don't have the same feelings towards invaders coming in.
What could we use to show that the mixing of any people of any
I gotta mute the mic because there's some background. I can't.
All right, hold on. My fault.
Somebody at a football game.
Yeah, what evidence do we have of any mixing of any races led to any conflict that started that war though?
Tune 100. Tune 100.
Huh?
I said tune 100. Pull it up. Type in tune 100. It's a naval battle. Who was they fighting?
What year is that?
Pre-dynastic time.
This was the Norma fight?
Yeah, dude, they was, yep, it was before, it was right around that time period. Prior to that, they was fighting. Who was they fighting? And we can pull up the scholarly work on it, yo. They fighting Asiatics, yo. But we watch. Then look on the Norma's palette. You can see the Asiatics.
So 10,100 BC? That what you
No,
saying?
hell no. Hell no.
See? Right there was calling the people on the Norma palette Asiatics. The uniting of the two lands, right? Now, those people, right, in the north, in the Delta, if he conquered the Delta, right, we're contending that those people was always in Egypt. I think. Let's see. Boom. Go.
What are you talking about?
Somebody pull up the Norma palette real quick.
Oh, we was on the point, yo. We was.
All right, stay on the point. Y'all was asking about the mixing.
We don't even gotta pull up no
Earn, and earn. The Baltimore accent. Earn, and earn.
info with that, because knowing African history, we can go to any of the dynasties and any of the kings. Why was King Tutmos III kicking ass so hard all the way up into Turkey the way he was? He wasn't
He was Nubian, wasn't he?
Hold on, wait a minute now. Wait a minute.
We jumping.
Let me finish my point. So he wasn't saying, oh, well, yeah, it don't matter that y'all Turkish, y'all can just come on in here. Nah, it's because y'all foreign in the sense of not only are you foreign skin color, but it's more about your practices. You could live in Egypt, go to Nubia, and stay in Nubia too long, and you're not considered an Egyptian no more.
Yeah, but see, you just said skin color though. Like
I'm saying, like, they're not blind to what's in front of them. So they know that they're different people, but it's not only about the skin color, brothers. It's also about your culture and your character.
But Chancellor said that though.
Yeah, and what we're saying is that time period. Yeah, that time period, you can look at the genetics and know that that even though within that population, you're not going to be just separating people by skin color. It's going to be by culture. So you're going to have people that may look like Asiatic, but they're still a part of that culture.
So you're saying that Chancellor's saying that it's solely off skin color alone. Is that the claims that y'all making?
I think he said. I think that was his referencing. I think that's what he used. That's why I was trying to get to that exact point. That point.
I'm trying to see where, because this is a book. I'm all through this joint, y'all. So I'm trying to see where he's talking about specifically that it was only about the skin color of why we fought them, because all throughout the book he's highlighting the character of said invaders with these great issues of race from 4500 BC to 2000 AD. He's not dealing with specifically, oh, it's the Arabs because they're Arabs in color. No, he's talking about the culture. You can look at the cover and look at the breakdown.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, right. So those people, some of the people he looked would have had the same complexion as he did. Right. Yeah.
Right. And you would have, it would be an insult to his intelligence in a way to indicate or to insinuate that he's just talking about skin color with this work right here, my brothers. Come on now.
But if you, that's what we talk. That's why we say we get crossed up when we use a different. Because he's saying when you start saying black, right?
Mm-hmm.
You say the blacks are, then you're talking about color.
He's
right.
Today we're talking about color.
No, yes. When he's saying black, like what is he talking about? Color.
Okay. So black, those Arabians that are invading were just as black as the northern Egyptians or North Africans that's living there too, because they're mixing in, they're staying in the same area. Saudi Arabia is right over there across the sea. So what I'm saying is those Arabs were blacker than some of the Egyptians acting the way that they were acting. So he couldn't have just been talking about color in that sense writing this work, because we can go to Dominican Republic right now. We can go to Cuba right now and there's people blacker than me. So it ain't just even today, black is not just color, and black then when he wrote this work wasn't just color. He's talking about just all throughout the work. Just hold on. Let's do this.
Okay, I'm looking at I'm just gonna go. We're looking at the. I'm trying to, because like I said, I ain't read the book in a while, so I go to look at the overview. Right, the land of the blacks was a vast land, right, a big world unto itself, right. So and he keeps going, right. He keeps saying the land of the blacks, and not just the southern region to which they had been steadily pushed from the north after Asian, Greek, and Roman occupation. The term Sudan came to indicate areas not yet taken from the blacks and was coextensive with the Ethiopian Empire. See what I'm saying? So that's some of the contention we was having. We were saying like, yo, when we're having in a scientific conversation, that the terminology and the understanding it could get lost because black denotes skin color.
Okay. Right? So let's do this. So we can say, okay, let's just say I'm gonna concede on a point and give you that it was just strictly black, right? Mm-hmm. Let's just take that for the argument for the sake of moving forward. Watch this. Are we gonna sit here and say that because Chancellor Williams talking about black in his day is a hang up of a reason to not really deal with this work in terms of all of everything else that's surrounded by it? Like,
that's why I was saying y'all misunderstood. That's what we was trying to get a understanding of what was meant by retirement. Like, it's not like, that's what I was saying. That's not what I'm saying. I was just talking about just keeping everything in context. Like when I said retirement, I said that's why I use the term he's a Hall of Famer. Right? Mm-hmm. We can look back at his work and use it for a foundation, right? But
okay, what were the Arabs calling us then though? What were they looking at us like we are equal because we in similar skin color, or were they calling us like do they have certain racial slurs and terms where they're distinguishing us, where it's like, yo, the land of the blacks, yeah, them the blacks.
Or the Arabs called us abad for slaves. That's a go ahead. Yeah, they definitely made a distinction.
So will we rather be, because even when we say Nubian, and we want to get caught up on this term black, I'm gonna get on my language lane. And so if we really want to get caught up over the term black, if we really want to discuss African history, I'm gonna ask you to get out your djembe drum. I'm gonna ask you to start dealing with some type of African indigenous language, because then we can really get to the root of it. If we really want to go all the way in, it's like reading the glyphs. We really shouldn't even be talking about Kemet unless we understand some of the glyphs. Just saying. We can't talk about what the Egyptians was doing, what they said, if you can't read their literature. That's just hands down.
No, that wasn't Chancellor's. No, you just gave a criteria.
I'm saying in the
But that wasn't
argument,
Chancellor's
talk
criteria.
about what Egyptians, how the Egyptians.
All right, so boom. We're hearing this same thing now. You heard what he just said? You shouldn't even be talking about Egypt and Egyptian history, customs, culture, or people if you can't read the glyphs. So if you can't read their funerary texts, basically, is the majority of what's remaining, right? What they wrote in their tombs, which is religious, then you shouldn't even be talking about Egypt. We're hearing this now. Again, while discussing Chancellor Williams. Go find me the source that Chancellor Williams read hieroglyphics. You're taking your cue from a playbook written by a scholar talking about Egypt that didn't read the Egyptian hieroglyphs either. You see the hypocrisy? But for us to talk about it, we got to be able to read the glyphs. Well, if we can't even talk about it because we don't read the language or the glyphs, then why the hell do you have a problem with us saying retire Chancellor Williams' book? Because if we shouldn't be talking about it because we can't read the glyphs, what makes you think he should have a book about it if this motherfucker can't read the glyphs? I wish I had a bomb explosion on my keypads. I got to put one on there. But anyhow, let's keep going.
Depicted Nubians. First of all, they didn't depict Nubians. It was tied to Hesse. It was, these kind of people, that kind of people. We got to get specific with the terms because it's the same conversation to y'all point about using the word black to distinguish everybody melanated. It's the same conversation if we want to start talking about Nubians when we talk about everybody down there in the first cataract and beyond. We can't say it. If we're going to get caught up in, we got to stay consistent. It's either we using the term black and we using the term Nubian and we can move forward because we having an English language conversation, or we got to bust out the sesh. We got to determine which way we're reading the glyphs. We got to look up what glyphs we're reading to get the dictionary. We got to come up with a transliteration and a translation to really talk about who they depicted and how and why. Not off lookership about pulling up a picture. Oh, they look like they depicted the Nubians as darker than the Egyptians. I don't care what it looked like. What does the sesh say? Not about what Chancellor Williams' argument is about what we having a conversation. If we talking about what the Egyptians depicted some other people looking like, we got to read their literature to talk about what they were talking about. Otherwise, we're doing lookership. And I'm saying that because I used to do that. You could look right now and see some things in the glyphs that ain't really there. I'm not going to say it on the air, but we got the young stupids that talk about what's in the glyphs that ain't really there because they don't understand retrograde, they don't understand erosion.
Man, what is this guy talking about? Listen, later on in this video, the funniest thing happened, y'all. Now, we was talking to this guy for over an hour, right? And this is the Marcy warrior clan, or I think he's a part of Marcy, right? Look like decent brother, genuine. I wonder why he don't come around no more, but I like talking to him. But it's so funny We talked to him for about an hour about Africans and Asians coming in to North Africa, and you know what Chancellor Williams was saying about the Asians and this, that, and the third. And the whole time, this guy was talking about Chinese people. Do you know how confused our people actually are? Now, this guy studies with a whole African or Pan-African study group. And the whole time we're talking about the Asian influence in North Africa and the Delta region and into Egypt. The whole time he is reading Chancellor Williams' Destruction of Black Civilization, all of this, and he thought that the Asians was some damn Chinese people. I almost lost my motherfucking mind when he fully came out and started, because we kept saying, man, what are you talking about? Fighting styles, and he said, if they were Asians, you would have seen it in the culture. Like, I don't see he started talking about some shit that he probably watched on a karate flick. He said, I don't see the crane style, you know what I mean, on the walls, you know what I mean, or the monkey style or the crane style. And man, Sosa like, bro, what the fuck is you talking about? He was like, y'all keep saying that they were Asian, like Chancellor Williams, but I don't see the Asian influence. You would see the fighting styles of the martial arts, and we like, bro, we ain't talking about no goddamn Chinese people, bro. What are you talking about? These people are so lost, and we be in arguments with them. It's almost like when you arguing with brother James, man, you don't even know why you engage. They'll let you know an hour into the conversation that you shouldn't even been talking to their crazy asses in the first place. That the conversation was over your head from the get-go. That the moment that you start talking about geography, if people are lost when you talk about basic middle school geography, then they shouldn't even be in the conversation with you. If we gotta argue with people on here talking about history, right? And we're talking about people who read ancient scripts and transliterating ancient scripts, and you gotta take them back to basic geography to have a conversation with them about these regions and people that they're talking about. They're still having a problem with the Mediterranean. They're still having problems with understanding North Africa and the countries that are in North Africa. They're still having a problem with explaining what's sub-Saharan Africa, right? They're having problems with understanding that Asian in Egypt is not talking about Chinese people. These are the people that we're actually having these conversations with. And we're arguing with them for hours, right? And the saying is that when you're arguing, no, I'm not going to say that because I'm not disrespectful. I think I made my point. Let's continue.
Over time, things wear down, kings carve over things. They're not understanding none of that. But they'll swear up and down it's some old Hollywood UFO and alien type stuff in the glyphs. And we know that's not true.
This man is talking about, he's talking about China Now he's talking about goddamn UFO glyphs, right? Just running all around when we're just saying that Chancellor Williams' work should be retired at this point.
You talking about when they got that little helicopter, look like a helicopter, but it's like the thing. Yeah, I was in that.
Off looking shit, bro. You can't do it.
Yeah, I was surprised. I think not to get off topic, but Wujawu had pointed that out one time to me, yo. But it wasn't a helicopter. It was like the thing had wore off or whatever. Go ahead.
So let me ask y'all, who the hell was Nama fighting, yo? Because that's the contention.
Yeah, Nama's fighting people in that region, whether it be Asiatic or we want to describe him as Asiatic.
Get him, Sosa.
I mean, he's fighting one tribe. But I mean,
he's fighting other Egyptians.
Yeah, all Asiatics ain't equal. He also fighting against his own people too, though. It's like, I mean, different people that look like him.
The two lands.
Yeah, I mean, so
and you said it was Egyptian was cultural and not racial. You feel me? Then he was fighting other Egyptians.
There's no race. Nah, he was fighting.
Right. So wow.
No, I'm saying that the Delta was heavily concentrated with Asiatics, and you just showed the map for what the Delta was.
But what was Chancellor saying?
You tell me. Chancellor said that they was trying to expel, right, groups of other people, and that some of them had mixed with these groups and was trying to take over the whole thing, and they wasn't having it. That they was maintaining a quote unquote Africanness, or Egyptianness by fighting against them lands, and they didn't necessarily wanted to actually hook up with them because the northern part was always mixing and matching, and they didn't appreciate that. And so when you look at the Nama palette clearly show that there are some people that look a little bit different. Not all of them, but we can look at the palettes. As a matter of fact, I'll never forget it. Smash starts showing you different people that was in there. And so these different groups or different cultural groups, you know what I'm saying, was vying to take control of that area, the whole thing. And so what they did was they unified the whole thing. And so the seat of power was in the South at the time, the Old Kingdom. That's why I said, look at 2 and 100, yo. They fight. Who they fighting? You got people. You got the Arachnites, Jabal Arachnites with Mesopotamian figurines on it. So these dudes was down there. Like, how we don't know that? You pull up.
No, we ain't saying that. We ain't saying that. We're trying to vet out what Chancellor was saying.
I know he's saying the same thing.
Y'all making some excellent points, but what I'm supposed to have brought out, my man T'Challa was, they were discussing what Chancellor said, not y'all overview on it, but what Chancellor meant by it. And I'm telling you, he used mainly race. He used mainly race as the basis.
Okay, but it wasn't. So since me and you know right here, we know that there is no race. So let's get off of that. Let's get on the artifact.
We're talking about Chancellor's work.
Yeah. Even in this book, he talk about the whites of Lower Egypt.
Yeah.
So was that wrong?
So we don't know. He the one who made the. He the one who made the
point. So
but guess why? It can't be wrong because we know that mutation was there.
So what does he mean by white? What does he mean by?
He talking about that SL245.
That wasn't even meted out at the time that he wrote that book.
No. So hold on. See. So watch this. So then how the fuck did he know it then? Because it wasn't there. We know that. But since we understand that
there ain't no whites in Lower Egypt. Like, that's what I'm saying. Now we bridging off from science to unscientific. There ain't no whites in Lower Egypt, bro. They're gonna be those people there, and those people gonna be of all. Their skin type is still gonna be that same broad range, bro. It's not like the North African range jumps dramatically in the skin map in that region.
Right. The Egyptians, according to your skin map, the Egyptians and the Asians had the same skin complexion.
They gradiate. Yeah.
Okay, so hey, do
So
me a
what was
favor.
Chancellor talking about?
Let me show you, Chef. You can already prove my point, and the conversation gonna be over with. Go get the source, yo, of the tunes that you find in the Delta. I dare you read it. I dare you. That's where you die at, right there.
I ain't trying to die, dude.
Read that. Read that. What is that?
Peace, bro.
I mean, y'all got me. Look, I got Chef looking. Just pull it up. All right, let's look at it. I got to be saying, put it on the screen. Let's look at it.
You trying to put
If
you in the
right,
dirt.
you right.
You trying to
I'm
put you in
not
the dirt,
arguing
Chef.
with you, right? Like,
But you can see though. But you can see you can see the conflict with the terminology and how it would lend to certain errors, right? Like I don't think we argue.
When we read this book
We're not
today,
gonna
when we
argue
go in
that,
the book
right?
club, it ain't even the focal point ain't even about if Chancellor Williams was just using race and talking about. We know the issue was them Negroes was all up in our stuff, in our backyard, front yard, and we needed to let them know that we are defending a Black African place. You need to go on somewhere and sit down with all that and coming over here trying to take over Africa mess, because that's what King Narmer was on, defending
But
Africa.
see, you did it again though, Black African
listen to
thing.
what I'm
Like,
saying, brother. Listen to what I'm saying. Because
Smash on here.
yeah.
Smash on here. You ain't Smash.
What up, Smash? He ain't
Y'all
muted.
can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Wanted that backup from Smash bad. Let's see how this go. Let's go.
What's up? I'm just in the park with my dog. I barely could hear y'all conversation. What's up, though?
We talking about
No,
the
we
racial
ain't
makeup.
beating up We ain't here beating up Going back
oh, we got the California on it.
Hey, we in here getting it in, getting this work, man.
What's on the Nas palette, Smash?
Hold on, though, but I was hearing something. I heard something about the whites of Lower Egypt. That's when I came in.
Yeah, he said wasn't no whites in Lower Egypt. That was Sosa said that.
What I'm saying is that what I'm saying that's that we can't extrapolate that like that because that's not a scientific way to go about it.
Yeah.
Like you can't look at it as black and white because that gradation will still be the same. You know what I'm saying? You will be talking about just different cultures of people, but some of them people are gonna look just as like the Egyptians and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Can we agree to that? Say, can we at least agree to that?
Go ahead.
I want to know who was the scholar who made the claim that there was white people in Lower Egypt.
Chancellor Williams.
Chancellor Williams.
He ain't say all. He said he was Asiatic, Afro-Asiatic, Afro-Caucasian. He said all that.
No, go to the chapter at 80.
Yeah, we're gonna need that source now.
Black Egypt turning brown and white.
But that's not really like an erroneous claim. We need to know about what period he's talking about and all that type of stuff. You feel me?
The Norma period.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wasn't no white people.
What page number is that, Chef? What page number is that? If y'all got
I think that was in the overview.
Oh.
Smash just stabbed Unc for no reason. That was crazy.
Okay.
That's at the beginning. That one.
That's the overview.
That one on page 80. Page 80 and 81.
He's specific. And he's specifically saying.
Let's go to the chapter. Black Egypt turning brown and white, and then I think that's on page 80.
All they gotta do is just type that word in there, yo. Come on, Chef. You moving slow and bring that
so
source.
we got it right here. Page 80.
Page 80, 81. I give you the page.
Page 80.
Yeah, start on page 8. That's black and brown and white. Then on page 81, it talks about, the whites in Lower Egypt.
Okay.
Well, we got to ask Chancellor Williams what's his source on that, because one thing we do know from doing as much research as we do is he wasn't particularly being careful with his use of the term whites in Lower Egypt. I don't want to say that's reckless, but like, you know what I'm saying? What's his source on that, and what did he use to substantiate what he had to say?
And that's all we've been saying.
That's all we saying.
all throughout the book.
All up.
Like I said, yeah. So I'm saying like in 2021, like we gotta extrapolate that so people can get a clear understanding of that. You know what I'm saying? Like Like that can't like that should be side by side with modern science so we can make
Y'all don't want to get that. Y'all don't want to get that DNA, yo. Y'all trying to play the game like that? Somebody pull the DNA up, yo.
I'm saying, are we saying there were whites or there wasn't?
I'm saying that marker was there because that mutation was there. I'm not saying that heavy numbers. Nobody's saying it.
He was not using DNA though. Like
we also got to pull out. We also got to pull out.
You saying the marker? You saying the marker that we find in the today European was there at the Norman palette?
No,
not lighter skin, because white people have went beyond the lighter skin. They on some other shit now. Like, I know genetically they not just representing lighter skin. You feel me? They got to be representing something else by this point. I don't know genetics like y'all do, but you can't tell me a light-skinned black person and the white person got the same, excuse my language, got the same genetics.
Yeah, that happens sometimes, but that ain't the point. The point yeah, that happens sometimes. Like y'all seen where the dark skinned dude had European markers, DNA. Remember that?
That gene that came down into those Neolithic farmers in Europe came from the steppes.
Yeah, but that ain't the point. The real conversation is who the
switch up.
Hey, hold on. Let me say this to prove the point on the skin color.
Come here.
My West African djembe teacher. If you look at the man with a hat on, you're gonna say it's a white man. But when he take his hat off, his hair nappy like mine. He got locks. Looking at his skin, if I was to write some literature and he over there in Guinea, West Africa, I would say, yeah, the whites in Lower Guinea, West Africa, him and whoever else that got the sick, because he ain't the only one on the earth. He got white skin, but he got nappy hair. Why is that?
Yeah, but Chancellor didn't do it like that. Chancellor wasn't there to see the people.
We can't jump and gloss over the point. The point is, if you're looking at somebody, I'm not saying Chancellor Williams was right. If he said that he's right, listen to what I'm saying. If he's describing someone that's there that has light skin and they living in Africa and they have that light skin, like when you see my djembe teacher, you'll say, "Oh yeah, that's a white boy teaching djembe." But what you don't understand is what's in his genetics, what's in his DNA, right?
So you're saying that Chancellor Williams, when he spoke about that, he looked at the people there,
that looker shit,
and then he made his statement based on what he was looking at, and then he used that and then transpose and then juxtapose that to Norman's time. Is that what you're saying he did?
I'm gonna say this. One, that could be part of what was done. The other part of what was done is looking at the behavior, because he's the whole book he's describing behavior. Whether he could say it was pink people there, bro. What were they doing there? Is the whole point of the book, the whole point of the argument.
What?
To not teach this work to the babies is dangerous, because the same thing is happening now, bro. Caprina Green Project here in Chicago don't look nothing like it used to. You could ride through there, ride your bike as a little girl with no problems.
I ain't saying that don't teach. See, as I'm saying, I never said don't teach it to the babies. I'm saying, like, but if I was to pass it on to my child, I would have to extrapolate that. So she would.
Yeah, we definitely gonna let them know that obviously this is what it is. You know, we read any work and we update. Like, if you pull out volume 1 right now, I'll go back and re-update some stuff that I put in there about the Guinea people in West Africa. What are you talking about? Like, of course. But what I'm saying is, if we're gonna split hairs down to the point of, oh, well, he said the word white and he shouldn't have used the word white, and to really make a whole conversation out of that over all of the other jewels that's in there talking about we read it 20 years ago, come on, bro, we can't do that. It's not even that big of a conversation. Okay, look, it wasn't really no whites in Lower Egypt. We can move on from that. What other contention points do we have? Because we've been talking about whites and blacks. What other contentious points?
All right,
that's a key point.
Wait. Let me just insert right there, because I just want to say something real quick. That fact ain't even wrong. I said we just got to deal with periodization. And if we start talking about the Norman period, then I will have a point of contention. But the fact that it was quote unquote whites, I'm not saying that fact is wrong. It's just all about what time period. You can't rub that over the whole time period of Kemet, because then it won't be true.
Right.
So then, who? Because that's some contention on here. Or was they African people? What would you say based off your research, Smash?
He on mute. You on mute, there?
Freezing up.
We get into it. We get into it,
What'd you
man.
say?
These shows used to be so fucking good, y'all.
Damn, it was getting good with the Chancellor. T'Challa asked a good question.
Yeah,
He
Am I
just,
still there?
oh, we ain't hear nothing you said, bro.
Go ahead.
Y'all ain't heard nothing I said?
Nah.
No, I heard about when I asked the
All right,
question.
well, this is what I'm gonna say. The Nubian people, Egyptians were strictly primarily. I'm gonna switch phones, then I can do the video thing. But it was primarily Nubian people who founded Kemet, and the reason why is you can't go any other direction but south and find archaeological evidence of who started Kemet. Once we get into the most advanced ceramic industry of that time, it was coming up out of Nubia. And what we do is we follow the archaeology of the pottery shards from deep in the Kush all the way up into Kemet. And we see the technology advance as the pottery comes up the Nile. We also see a few other things. So I would say Nubian people, just not to be running off for so long.
Yep, you talking about the black pottery, the black top.
The whole ceramic industry's progression. Like what I mean is we see. Can you send me this link one more time to my email, or that's too much? Hold on, I can send it to myself.
That's easy work. Hold on.
Email it to me, then I can do better. Yeah.
I got you. I'm gonna do it right now.
Yeah, I'm talking about the advancement of the whole ancient ceramic industry. I mean, in totality, like nobody else was making that pottery. And when we start tracing it, the Egyptian pottery, when we trace the Egyptian gold, we don't find gold that built the foundation in the streets of Egypt in Asia. We don't find that stuff no place but in Nubia. And so how would some Asians have even came into Egypt and known that there was gold in Nubia if not they had not been there from a time before? And so these are some of the points that we will draw upon when we say the heart of Egypt came up out of Taseti.
Yeah, I'm sending you the link right now, yo, so you can show your screen.
All right, so cool. So back to Chancellor and T'Challa.
That's how we got the Chancellor, though. We kind of got.
I know, but
over the argument of who the Egyptians was, kind of.
Yeah, right. That, you know what I mean? Cool. That fine. But you're talking about periods, even with Smash at. But you about to make me miss my point. Yeah, that would even be periods, right?
I was saying not to discredit the Chancellor's point in totality. He is right if he would put the proper periodization on the statement. But if you say about the time of the Narmer Palette, we would have some type of argument. We would have to debate that out.
Okay.
See, now I see you didn't get that source though, yo. You know the source I'm talking about, yo.
So T'Challa, when you said that point about whether Norma was fighting to whether that point is wrong, whether Norma was fighting white people and this, that, and the third, whether he got that wrong, it don't take away from the totality of the book. That's just a minute point.
Yeah,
right?
I would say that you said that very well, because he could, I mean, you know, it could have been a later period in time where it was some white people in Egypt, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but he made that a contention throughout the whole, you know what I mean, Egyptian period, that his covering the Egypt dealt with that extensively.
You get the link, Smash?
Yeah, I just got it.
All right. Yeah, but you kind of dipping and dodging there, so Chef.
No, this about T'Challa. This because he said that point ain't even really relevant in the grand scheme of things. As far as why it's Chancellor's work. I'm just talking about Chancellor's work with what he postulated.
So what are you saying that Chancellor is saying throughout this whole work?
No, I'm talking about the Egyptian period. he really explains the Asian conflict. You dig what I'm saying? He goes into that as how we lost Egypt, the whole thing. Like, you know, I know y'all didn't already read that chapter because I was reading it with y'all. You know what I mean?
So you're saying that the reason why we lost, while we were the reason why Kemet was falling was not because of the foreign invaders that would have had a different complexion than the indigenous, like more indigenous population of the place?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm asking questions. I'm not trying to straw man you.
No,
I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, because I'm not sure. Like I said, my contention was those people was always there. You dig what I'm saying? And part of now the Hyksos and different, and the Assyrians and different people that came in at a later time that you will classify as Asians. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about, you know, if you saying that the Egyptian civilization fell because of those people, then fine. But I'm talking about that Asian type that was always in North Africa and in Egypt. I'm saying I don't feel like they fell because of them, because they was part of the Egyptian civilization, like Unc just said earlier.
Boom. Y'all see that? Y'all see, I never changed. Right there. I'm on it. I'm saying that what y'all keep calling Asian was always there. They were the North Africans. They were Egyptians. Y'all see that? 2 years ago. I haven't changed. The conversation has changed around me. More people is understanding that fact, right? That's the point. I was always saying that those people that y'all calling invaders, right, are in fact North Africans and Egyptians. Y'all are getting them confused with Asians because of phenotype. They don't fit the Negroid phenotype. So y'all saying that they are Asians, whites, and invaders. I made this point 2 to 3 years ago, and I've stuck by this. Now we are agreeing that these people are African. But this is not what they were saying at first. They were following Chancellor Williams and them and saying that these people were Asians and these people are invaders. And they getting these people mixed up with the Arabs, the Assyrians, and the Greeks. Let's go.
Earlier, like they didn't know it was a difference.
Okay, so watch this.
Chancellor was saying that it was a difference.
So watch this.
No, it was something that wasn't. It was something that wasn't. All right, that's okay. Keep going. I got you.
Go ahead. No, I'm not even trying to disagree with you. I was backing your point up. But you want to back off of your point now?
No. I'm saying that there's some people that wasn't of Egyptians.
Right.
And some people
that when you say always been there, how long ago are we talking about, Chef? Like
when was Egypt started?
That's why I brought up when I asked that first. When we talking about, if we're gonna talk about pre-dynastic time, that's one conversation.
So you don't think they was there pre-dynastic time either?
Hold on.
No,
because I'm not moving away from your point, and I'm not saying you're completely wrong, and I'm not saying you're completely right. Watch this. When I say, because it's about getting technical, my whole thing is about being technical with our words, because that's what we're having a conversation about. And I'm with you. We need the TEP-HESID scientific method, the correct terminology, whatever you want to rock with. We need to be using that when we're talking about scholarship. Okay, cool. Okay. So watch this. When we say always been there, that paints the same picture as your point about the whites in Lower Egypt, in terms of we know that this, they wasn't necessarily like white people, but here comes Chef saying that the Asiatic presence and influence has always been there. So I'm trying to figure out, is it Asiatics, which would not have been as black as like African black people, sub-Saharan black people, that's been there, in which case, by the time Norma comes up there, yes, he's talking about white people. He gonna call them a lighter skinned people because they lighter than him. So what I'm saying is, has these people always been there, and what's the time frame?
All right, well, let me be specific.
Okay.
And again, we're talking about Chancellor Williams. Chancellor Williams was an African-American man who was born in the South. He knew exactly what a white person was.
Okay.
Like, let's not even twist that. Like, he didn't know what white was. You feel me? He grew up in the South. He was born in the South of the United States. You know what I mean? He knew what white people was. So he wasn't confused about that. Now, we might be trying to confuse it, you know what I mean, now saying that, but when he talked about the Asian, you're saying he was saying that the Asian was the white man that he was talking about?
No, I'm asking you because you said the Asiatic presence has always been there. I'm trying
in North Africa. You don't agree with that?
Nah, I disagree with that.
Okay,
what has always been there, because we know that, first of all, we go all the way back. Okay. We know that them Asians wasn't always there because they wasn't Asians. It was us living there for however many hundreds of thousand years before we start walking out of Africa into the Sinai Peninsula.
And then came back.
So when we come back, so let me ask you this. What evidence do we have of the back migration and the distinct, like, where the artifacts of the always Asiatic presence being in what we call Egypt today? Where's the cultural influence, the linguistic, everything that indicates that there was some pre-dynastic Asiatics living in Egypt at that time? And all of Africa, we got all those Africans living in Africa, migrating. We got the Saudi Arabians going in and out or whatever. So I'm trying to figure out, where is it that these distinction of Asiatic...
So you saying there's none?
No, I'm asking you the way you claim, because you make the claim. Where's the evidence?
No, but the way that you're asking, you know what I mean? So if I show you any
evidence, brother.
So if I show
you made the claim.
All right, cool, fine. If I show you any, do your argument fall completely apart?
Hold on. If you show me some evidence and I was wrong, I'm gonna gladly thank you, brother. I will.
Right. No, but you already studied. So I'm figuring you already know these things.
Hold on. I'm studied, but I'm not Mukulu. I'm not Oludamare. I'm not Allah. So you can teach me something.
So if we're having a discussion on Egypt, right? Then that would make me think that if we're studying Egypt, or even an overview history of Egypt, we're going to see, you know, some type of cross-cultural shit between Asians and those Africans in North Africa. You saying that it don't exist, or you haven't run across it yet? Well,
I'm saying no. What I'm saying is, one, you're making the claim, so I'm gonna ask you to bring all of that information.
No, he's asking you to ask for clarity so he can understand what you don't. What are you saying you don't see, so he can bring it out? You feel me?
Okay, based on what I know about Asian culture,
here we go.
Based on how they get down, you would have to. So what were the Asians doing? What's the style of martial art of these people? Because we know these people are heavily into studying animals and moving like the animals. So which martial art were they using?
I don't know that. I don't know about martial arts. But that's something you can put me up on. You feel me?
Praying mantis, snake style, that ain't just the Hollywood 36 chambers. That's real. I get down with that. So what I'm saying is, based on my studies of Chinese and Japanese history, where Zen Buddhism comes from, coming from India, that influence, the Bushido code for the warriors of the samurai, all of that can be traced back to that ancient teachings. And what I'm saying is, based on
Egypt?
No, not saying Egypt. What I'm saying is, based on what we know about pre-dynastic Africans and their cultures and moving around, watching animals move, how we fight with sticks, Zulu stick, all that kind of stuff. We understand that we have a certain way of doing things, and the overwhelming majority looking at the glyphs, we do not see an Asiatic influence and cultural anything, bro. I see nothing but Africa when I read the sesh. Is what I'm saying.
So even the crops, the animals, like you, so Africa, those people wasn't trade.
This motherfucker was talking when we're talking about Egypt, right? And when we're talking about Asian, right, influence into Egypt or Asian people into Egypt, we're not talking about Far East Asians. This motherfucker is talking about China and Japanese and karate. He's saying, so since I don't see karate in the glyphs, then the Asians, what in that, bro, we ain't even talking about them Asians. You all the way on the other side of the world. You are lost. Most people have these conversations are fucking lost, bro. We've been talking to this motherfucker for over an hour, and I'm wondering why he not getting it. This motherfucker ain't even in the right part of the world. I blame the educational system. This shit is crazy. It's nuts. Man, yo, we gonna have to kick this up tomorrow and pick this show up. Cause it's getting late. It's already after 11 over here. I gotta work in the morning. Yo, man, we gonna be back tomorrow for some carnivorous podcast, Monday Night Madness. We gonna pick right up where we left off at. Let's see, we left off at y'all go watch the rest of this show. And comment on the bottom of the show, right? Get that show out there. But watch that show, man. We had a lot of awesome shows over there on the Pseudo Killas, and I'm gonna be recapping a lot of them to start this channel off. Yeah, but we had a lot of good conversations. We're gonna finish this one up because this one was real good. But you can see me, Corey, and Sosa, we was definitely ahead of the curve, and our conversation hasn't changed too much. It seems as though that people are coming into agreement or where we was at. There's certain things we had to refine about the conversation, and we could talk more into how we actually refined our conversation to be even more precise in what we were actually saying. But you can see that we was on it. You can see Unc moving ahead in the conversation. You can see where he was at and certain positions that he done moved off of. And he talked about this on one of his shows earlier in this week, that you supposed to grow, right? Like I've grown from this conversation. Like I said, when I started, I argued with ex-architect, right? And he helped me become comfortable with my skepticism of the Black Egypt. And I was able to start reading more material that, supported the consensus. And the consensus don't support the Black Egypt claim that I was highly engulfed in reading Egypt Revisited by Van Sertima and the works of Sheikh Ante Diop and Dr. Ben and, Chancellor Williams, and Tony Browder, and Drusilla Dungy. Those works kept me, even Dr. Charles Finch, he had a book that I, was really, I thought it was Ancient Egypt, the Light of the World. Yeah, so I was into it. But yeah, y'all, look, it's been great. Let me see where y'all at. Let me get this back up. Boom. We're gonna do this tomorrow. We're gonna finish. We're going to try to get in here early. I don't have to go to my second job tomorrow. So we're going to try to get in here early around 6 o'clock tomorrow. When I get off work, I'm going to come spark up the show and we're going to start right back off at 2 hours 47 seconds and see where this go at. We're gonna cut the show at the time where Rob Bourne came in and derailed the conversation with the NOI madness. But yeah, y'all, what y'all think so far? Where y'all at? Let me read the chat. Oh, got my man Ngozi up in here. Ngozi, I'm back on, bro. I took off for a minute. You dig what I'm saying? We only got 25,000 people in the building. We had a bigger audience when I first started and was going hard with the Chef Madness. So we got to get these viewers back up. But even if it's just 25 of us, we gonna rock it. You dig what I'm saying? I appreciate the 25 that's over here. And like I said, the only thing we ask for in payment is that you hit the like button and comment on the video after the show, right? After the show, if we can have a conversation in the comment section, I will much appreciate that. That's how you pay for this show, right? That's how these shows get out there, by participation. So, like the show after it ends, like comment on the show. That's how you pay me. I don't ask for cash apps. This channel is not monetized, and there's no super chat. You dig what I'm saying? This channel is fully subsidized by me. Y'all pay me with y'all eyes and the thumbs. All right? All right, y'all. It's been real. I don't want to do that. Boom. And we ouch. Hey, yo, what is y'all in there beefing over? The Palestinians and Israel? Okay, I got to read the chat. I got to catch up. I seen y'all beefing. I'm going to catch up.
Guitar playing that feel to show the beat is real. The beat goes on. moving strong, and I love it. The beat goes on, beat goes on, the 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 beat goes on, and the beat goes on, just like my love, everlasting. Oh, and the beat goes on, still moving strong, and the beat goes on, just like my love, everlasting. Oh, and the beat goes on, still moving strong, and I love it, and the beat goes on, just like my love, everlasting.
Peace, y'all. We did one. Tomorrow we right back at it.